Hello y'all, pproteus here, back for round number 3. I am 2-0 with hexproof. So again, a mantra. 4 things. I'm looking for 3 lands, check. Looking for a white source, check. Looking for a hexproof guy, check. Payoff, check. Hand is awesome, keeping it. And I am gonna get ready for me to be attacking for 3 on turn 2. This my opponent here. Okay, that's going to change things a little. So, my opponent here played. They played Affinity in the last challenge. So I was starting to think about how my draw is going to line up versus 4/4s. But Snow-Covered Island, not Affinity, and I believe that what I have to do here is not cast Gully Cover Scout. And that's because Snow-Covered Island means probably daze. And if this gets dazed, I might just lose the game. So I don't want any of that to happen. So let's cast Abundant Growth. Let's try to get a daze out of my opponent's hand so that they can't do scary things next turn. Because I think they'll certainly read what Forest Pass means in terms of my deck choice. Basically, the thing I don't want to have happen is daze. I also don't want foil to happen, but it's a little bit harder to play around foil. I want to make daze a totally dead card. Well, maybe not totally dead, but dead enough. And I'm gonna play this cartouche into the daze, mainly because I'm afraid that they will do cool stuff. The cartouche I don't think is an important part of my game plan. They could have like a main deck Shrivel, and then I get totally wrecked. Ooh, Riverwinder. Ooh, okay. I didn't really. Okay, so they're on the Exhume deck. They're gonna cast Exhume for a 2-mana 5/5. All right. So note to self: if you can get a creature in your graveyard, and once that relic has gone away. And that's probably a good thing to do. But that may be a little bit challenging to accomplish. Okay. Utopia Sprawl is definitely a good start. Am I going to walk into a second daze? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to choose white here. First, going to resolve the most important thing, which is Ethereal Armor. Then Rancor. And then I'll stick an Unbridled Growth here. And I can use that. I can cycle it next turn, but for this turn, I'm just attacking. That guy's only a 5/5. 2-mana 5/5s with hexproof are generally pretty good. They're not actually that great versus hexproof. They're just kind of a big creature, but they're gonna need more than a big creature to beat my 8/6. With First Strike and Trample. So maybe they've got a second giant creature. Maybe they have some way to play an angler here, and then we've got a game. But even still, if they have an angler, my guy does have First Strike, so I can just attack into both of them, eat one of them with a First Strike damage, and then the scout doesn't die to the normal damage from just one 5/5. And of course, if I top deck something like a Mask, then my opponent is going to be forced to chump. And they don't know that the card that's already in my hand, they don't know whether or not that's a Mask. So I think they've got some hard decisions, although it may not be that hard because, as I keep saying, they're going to have a lot of dead stuff. But the hard decision is trying to figure out how many turns they're supposed to have this game. How many turns they have to do something that matters to either kill me or present some blockers that can actually interact reasonably well with an 8/6 First Striker. They're casting Gush, so pretty sure they got a foil in there. I think. Also got a 5/5. Opponent is doing powerful things. Can't deny that. So if we sack the Unbridled Growth, we still have. If I sack the Unbridled Growth, though, I lose the 6 toughness, and the 6 toughness might really, really matter. This card is huge. Don't have to worry about days. So I think I'm supposed to cast this cloak, and then if they counter it, then I'm going to sack Unbridled Growth, look for Ethereal Armor, which would force a chump. If they don't... They didn't counter that. Interesting. Yeah, let's try to force a chump here. We probably win the game anyways with the lifelink we got, but let's just try for some overkill. 10 power for a strike is plenty for beating 5/5s. We're at 25 life. My opponent only has 2 mana. We're not dying this turn. Interesting, it didn't even have foil. My opponent has not done very well on the interaction side. Game. We could have died there to an edict, but it doesn't seem to have happened. So, you got a friend who say hexproof is 0 skill. Show them this video and ask them if they would have played their 1/1 into days on turn 1, because they would have lost. Moving on to sideboard. I don't know if I have too much that I actually want to side in this matchup, mainly because I don't know what's in their board. So there are obviously like super scary hate cards that are sometimes impossible to beat, like Aura Flux. There are kind of edict style Punisher cards like, Chainer's Edict, Diabolic Edict, and Curfew. And if I'm expecting those cards, I have to bring in Young Wolf. The first category card I just can't beat. I'm just never going to sideboard against them. And then they're going to have more sideboard stuff like Annul. Could think about bringing in Dispel for that, but I don't think I actually want to do that. I don't think that's that great. They could also have stuff like Shrivel, and maybe Mutagenics in answer to that. But again, I have all these like things that sort of do what I want, but in general, not so much. Like I could think about setting out 1 Pilgrim for a Wolf or a Mutagenic or a Dispel. But that's about it. I don't really want to do anything stronger than that. So I think I'm just gonna leave it the way it is, run it back. And we're probably slightly unfavored in post-board matches, but I think it's close enough that opponent's going to have to get lucky to win 2 in a row, especially winning the game 3 when I'm on the play. Again, evaluating this opening hand, I see 3 issues. 1 has 4 lands, that is not good. Number 2, doesn't have white mana. Number 3, doesn't really have a payoff. It can make a 4 power creature. My opponent's deck is 5/5s. It's not going to beat. It's not going to beat a 5/5 with a 4 mana creature or 4 power creature. So I'm going to mulligan. I think I can do better than that one. This one's interesting. So we don't have a creature. Otherwise, this hand is quite good. But I think I'm gonna mull this on the back of that Armadillo Cloak not being a proper payoff. If that Armadillo Cloak were an Ethereal Armor, then I'm gonna think once I draw a 1/1, I stick the cloak on it, and then my creature's a 5/5 with first strike, and my opponent's 5/5s don't do anything. But once I draw my 1/1, then I have to spend 3 mana, and I get a 3/3. And then my opponent plays a 5/5 and it can't attack. That's kind of rough. So actually, I'm going to think I'm mulligan this one too. Okay. Alright. I'm okay with how this has transpired. So I'm going to keep this hand. It's obviously not great. 5-card hands tend not to be great. But I have 3 of the things I'm looking for. I've got 3 mana. I got white mana. I got a proper payoff. Something that can actually beat 5/5s. So all I need is one thing. Just one thing. Just one creature. I think what I do on turn 1 is just Forest Pass. Don't really want to walk into Daze. Utopia Sprawl is really good against Daze, and if I get the chance to make my opponent's cards all dead, because they have like a bunch of Dazes in their hand, and maybe they have to cast like 2 Dazes on turn 2 on my Utopia Sprawl, then that does sound pretty good to me. If my opponent is doing this much nothing, Interesting, they did not play a land, but they also didn't shuffle off of that Ponder. What does that mean? Do they have a null? Do they have a foil and really don't want to play another land? Like maybe they have one land hand, and they pondered, seeing foil, island, and then they drew the island. Then they don't want to play it, and next turn they play the second island, and then spend a mana, and then they have foil plus something else in their hand. So if I were playing a mid-range deck at this point, I would say I'm going to do nothing. Opponent, you can discard the hand size. But I'm not playing a mid-range deck, so I'm really not sure what to do here. But I think I'm supposed to start with the Vestige and start with the Utopia Sprawl. I want to do the least important thing first. My opponent wants to counter my stuff. We're going to have to counter that guy. I'm going to choose white, make sure I have a white source around. That worked, so we're doing it again. Here's Bogle. Opponent does not cast anything. I could Ethereal Armor, but as I said before, Ethereal Armor is really important. I'm not running it into Daze. Opponent could have a null. That could be their hand. And I think it's very likely. I don't think they have foil. I think you would just foil the Bogle. At least, that's what I would do. It depends on their hand, though. They could have Daze. They could have a null. So my goal is to try to make those as dead as I can. Preordained bottom top. And I'm going to do that by assuming that unless they demonstrate otherwise, they have both of those cards in their hand. If I cast Armadillo Cloak, that gets annulled very nicely. If I cast Ethereal Armor, that gets annulled very nicely. I just want to play around everything. So we're going to cast Rancor. And if my opponent wants to annul this, then the Ethereal Armor comes down. They're probably not going to be too happy about that one. And if they let this by, then I think we're fine here. I think the worst that can happen is they go Cycle Riverwinder, untap Swamp, Exhume. But I also don't think they have a Swamp, because they would have played it on turn 2 if they had a Swamp. Augur, sure. Is my opponent going to Gush, maybe? Well, there's an Exhume. Stuff's happening. So I played the land mainly so if I draw an Abundant Growth, then there is a possibility of casting 2 spells in turn and still playing around Daze. And maybe that's what's happening here? I drew Cloak. So I think opponent has a null plus Daze. I don't want to let them use the Daze, so I'm just passing the turn. Shrivel is something to be scared of, so I would like to resolve one of these, but I just want to resolve one of them anyways. So being scared does not really accomplish anything. They're going to have counter magic for each of these 3 cards. And if they don't, they're going to be in trouble. I mean, 1 Armadillo Cloak isn't that much, but it does mean that Shrivel is dead, and if they get a 5/5, they attack me with their 5/5. I attack back, gain 5 life, and they're not getting anywhere. Holding up 2 blue mana. This could go badly for me. I think I play the land. Do I play the land? This is a decision. So I am playing Cloak, obviously, because the Ethereal Armor is the more important card to resolve. Do I play the Forest preemptively to try to play around double days? Or do I hold it to try to make them think that I'm going to run an Ethereal Armor into days? I think it's unlikely they... I don't know. I don't know that it matters very much, honestly. Okay. Not surprised by that. 6 cards in hand, one of them's Exhume, one of them's Daze. They could have a bunch of black cards in their hand. Now I'm wondering, what's the probability that they have another Null in their hand? If they do, then I really would rather have the Ethereal Armor resolve. And so I should play nothing this turn, then next turn Cloak, and they counter it, and then Ethereal Armor. But if they don't have it, obviously I should just play the Ethereal Armor here, and then I get to attack for like 8. Or, no, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're up to 4 islands, so it's not super likely they're going to do stuff, and they may even be tempted to gush. But on the other hand, this could be totally wrong. They could have Counterspell, and they're looking for an opportunity to leave it up. But I think if they had Counterspell in their hand, then they would cast it there, unless they also had a second in Null. So based on that information, I'm not going to play around Counterspell. The Counterspell is only really going to be an issue if they have a ton of stuff going on. Augur Bolas hits another Exhume that they also can't cast. They did get to shuffle away 2 dead cards with the Augur though, including possibly a including possibly, actually, that Exhume is probably just this Exhume. They probably put the Exhume on top because they don't have a black mana. They may even have multiple Exhumes. So I should let that happen. I should have played this last turn because my opponent might actually have double days. That's not unreasonable. Armadillo Cloak. Do you have counter magic? Opponent is gushing, looking for counter magic. Maybe foil? Maybe. We'll see. I actually haven't had any evidence that there's a daze waiting for me. So I'm not going to play around double days. At this point, then there's no point playing around in a null. I should just cast my card. If they have an null, it gets countered. But I feel like you don't cast the first gush there. If you just have a null, you just cast the null. Okay, Ethereal Armor, you got 8 cards in your hand. Got another foil for me? Another foil pitching Island and Daze. And the last foil pitched Island and Cartouche. Alright, so they did have a bunch of foils there. So we haven't won yet. Opponent has... they discarded 2 lands there. That was another land. They have a hand of land, Exhume, and... then I don't know the rest of the cards. Here comes an Angler. Well, they finally must be happy about having finally found that swamp. They're representing blue mana instead of casting Exhume, and that means possibly another null or something. But I don't think I can just keep reading into my opponent's draws. I just have to play my cards as they come up because I have nothing else to do. So we're gonna pass the turn a couple times, and hopefully opponent does not have hopefully we draw something good like an armor or a mask or maybe a cloak in the next 2 turns, and our opponent doesn't have counter magic. Otherwise, we're gonna lose. No, in the next turn, because they just play their 5/5 here. I guess I could have blocked the angler, and then if they cast Exhume, I get my thing back, but I think my opponent then just does nothing, and I never get anywhere. So I think we're dead, probably, but we could hit something, and if it does resolve, okay, that's not actually the worst, if it resolves, because it means we can block their guy, and then trade, but then this isn't gonna work for me. So now I'm gonna have to trade for their creature, and yeah, we're dead. All right. Moving on to game number 3. So I'm gonna ask myself, how useful were some of these fringe cards? For example, how useful were the Armadillo Cloaks, the Rankers, the Spider Umbras and Friends? How useful were those cards? And would a Dispel would it have been better? And I think in this case the answer is really not obvious. I'm just conceding. I guess I can play this and then chump again, but I'm not winning the game from 1 life with no cards in hand. I think I can see an argument for getting that Dispel in here. For sure. We did. I want to note, we lost the game because of running out of resources, and we multi-5 that game. So keep that in mind. Keep that one in mind. I think I'm going to bring in the Dispel for one of the smaller. The Spider was probably worse, because the first strike is actually super relevant versus the 5/5s. Let's try it. Let's try it here. I don't know if it's good, but I would like to find out. Let's hope for a good 7 cards, because that is how you win against blue decks. Oh boy. So we have here a really good 6 card, and I wish this 7th card were a creature. Since that 7th card's a creature, this hand is excellent. But there's no creature. So this hand does 0 things while we wait. So I have to ask myself now, how long, on average, until I draw a creature? And can I afford to wait that long? And the answer is that I have 9 creatures in my deck. And so 9 creatures in 53 cards means about 1 in 6. So on average it'll be 6 turns until I draw a creature. But I do have these two draws, so maybe on average turn 4 I'm going to draw a creature. Am I okay with doing nothing, with keeping this bad hand with the goal of drawing a creature on turn 4 or 5? I think not really. I think I can do better than that. I want a hand that does stuff, you know? So this hand looks solid. It doesn't have a payoff, but it's got the Armadillo Cloak, which is like kind of a payoff. It's a payoff versus Augured Bolas, at least. It has a cantrip, and I get a scry. So I'm keeping this for sure. Scry that land to the bottom. And then I'm going to Utopia Sprawl on 1. And I think Utopia Sprawl is really important to play on 1, because I'm going to be trying to play around days all game. So I really want the thing that makes mana for me to actually be on the battlefield. I don't think the 1 chip damage with the Gladecover Scout is likely to matter in comparison. Ooh, we hit a Dispel. That could be fun. Let's cast Gladecover Scout. Cast the Unbridled Growth. The Unbridled Growth land now can tap to cast Dispel. Well, I put it in my deck. I cut a Spider Umbra. We'll find out pretty quickly whether I wish I had kept the Spider Umbra or not. I've got some pretty weird incentives here. I'm incentivized to not crack the Unbridled Growth because I want to be able to cast the Dispel ever. Opponents representing a null. But unfortunately, the Dispel just doesn't get me very far versus things like Daze. So I could cast Dispel, but it means walking into Daze. I just don't think I'm supposed to walk into Daze when I have 4 mana. On the other hand, I think walking into a null is acceptable. So I think I just cast the Armadillo Cloak, and I'll let my opponent counter it. Or I let them not counter it. I'm also okay with that. Interesting. So I think that means that my opponent... I played a land there. So they could have the null, and they're holding it because they really don't want me to resolve an Ethereal Armor. And I understand that. It's like if they think they can resolve a 5/5, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's very interesting here. They missed off Augur. Point for me. Not cracking Unbridled Growth as long as I have this Dispel in my hand and no other way to pay for it. Okay, opponent just doesn't have a null. Alright, got it. Important to play around Daze then. Even more. We are going to cast this Utopia Sprawl. Choose blue so we can cast Dispel. Draw a card. And we missed. I was really hoping to hit something there. Is not to be. Opponent could still have foil. Foil and Daze even. I haven't seen a counterspell. At this point, I'm going to assume they just don't have counterspells. And then, of course, they could always have terrible hate cards, like terrible for me, like Curfew or something. Something very annoying like that. The opponent, I'm sure, has the read that I have Dispel from the blue Utopia Sprawl, but I was getting the idea for the Dispel, honestly, because in previous challenges, I've found myself playing Utopia Sprawl, choose blue, to bluff having Dispel. Just because I knew that the color wouldn't matter. Because I wanted them to try to play around it. But I realized while I was doing that you don't really get a chance to play around very many things as the opponent of a Hexproof player. Either you have the thing that's good or you don't. Ooh, a Rancor. Okay. That's really nice. I mean, it's no Ethereal Armor, but it gains me more life, and it makes my clock faster. So anything that decreases the number of turns my opponent has to play a large creature is great for me. My opponent's cast Gush, I could always Dispel it, but again, I'm operating on the principle of most cards don't matter. So I think if my opponent casts Gush, they're drawing 2 cards, and on average, each card, like the average card in my opponent's deck, just doesn't matter at this point in the game, or really versus me at all. So trying to stop raw card advantage just doesn't make a lot of sense. This Dispel is going to sit in my hand and try to protect the Ethereal Armor that I'm going to draw next turn. That's its job. And, perhaps my opponent has something good. Perhaps they're going to go Psycho Riverwind or cast Exhume or play an Angler. But that's just not all that terrible. Opponent then they got the 5/5. They have to stop attacking, though. I'm going to keep they got 1 island in their hand. I don't know about any of the others. They did do some thinking the turn that I cast the Rancor, and that makes me think they might have a foil. And they just did not want to foil the Armadillo Cloak. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have played that. I was just trying to not tap suspiciously. But I shouldn't have played that to let my opponent think that I had that my hand was aura plus dispel already, because my opponent already has the read on the dispel, and I forgot about that. But they may not know I have it in my hand. They may just think it's in my deck. So now I'm going to cast Bogle, and I'm doing this because I want to play around Edict/Curfew. Curfew is a little less important, because it is an instant that I can counter, potentially. So we got this far. This is anybody's game. It's just 2 draws better at this point. They're the blue deck, so they got a slight edge, but I think like they're going to draw better than average for their deck, but my deck has better cards in it, so it's going to be close, I think. Ooh, that's not good. Have to target their own creature. Okay, so they have their creature has lifelink. That's not so good, because that means they can start attacking me and trading damage. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. How about an Ancestral Mask? How about it? Nope, nothing. Well, I'm going to attack with the Glide Cover Scout. I could hold it back to block. Uh-oh, what is this? I don't like the look of this. What is happening? Why is my opponent blocking like that? That is very strange. I was like, are they going to mutagenic growth? But that was just a chump. Okay. Maybe they want to cast Exhume next turn and get back their Augur, I guess. I don't think the lack of damage matters too much, though. I just care about the life gain. Because life gain means I get more turns. I'm not really disappointed that much that my cards ran into their 1/3s. And there's the shrivel effect. Not the card shrivel exactly, but basically exactly. I'm gonna let them do that. Untap. Come on, deck. Okay. Could be worse. That was probably not what I was supposed to target. Glade Cover Scout. Okay. Not what I wanted. That's not good at all. Don't know why my impulse was to say okay. I guess because I'm registering that I drew it. But it's dead. It doesn't do anything. I need to draw more cards that require countering them than my opponent draws counter magic pieces. And I also just lose if my opponent finds like an Aura Flux or a Curfew or Edict. I'm starting to feel unfavored. The game's not really slipping away yet, because they don't have any momentum. Maybe they got the Curfew and that's the momentum. I had to get them to do that. I wanted the Nausea out of their hand so I can play this one and not worry about Curfew anymore. Although I guess they played it in that order on purpose. So maybe them playing Nausea pre-combat should make me think that they don't have any of those things. They played it pre-combat and gained 1 less life, but that's because they thought I was going to chump. And so them thinking that I was going to chump, I guess that means that this otherwise would have been dead. But that's a pretty contrived chain of thought. let's start with this Glade Cover Scout. Get it down. Now I don't have to worry about getting curfewed. Now I'll play Cartouche of Solidarity. Opponent, would you like to counter this? You got 7 cards in hand. I bet you have counter magic. Opponent does not counter it. I think I'm just gonna trade. I'm just gonna trade hits. We both got 6 power lifelinkers. Okay, this is exciting. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Glade Cover Scout plus the Warrior. But I guess the Warrior token could just die to something random. Maybe I should just block aggressively with it. Then, because I'm expecting the other Glade Cover Scout to die to a second Nausea. Opponent plays a 5/5, and I guess I have to stop attacking now. Because I can't just trade damage, but also my opponent has a 5/5. So I guess we're going to do that until I draw and resolve a real good card. Like an Ancestral Mask. We're going to do nothing. Hexproof is not known for playing long grindy games, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just have like a ridiculously good blocker. And then you have to be able to do it. Opponent has a whole lot of cards in their hand, but they also let these things resolve, so I don't think they can't have that much counter magic in their hand. Because the counter magic just clearly isn't burning a hole in their pocket. They're not trying to get rid of it. They're not imagining they are limited by mana. So they're going to discard some to hand size. They discarded a Daze. Good to know that that one's around. Good to know about that. We're not going to be attacking for a little while. We're going to need some more toughness before we can attack. Even with the first strike, we eat the 6/6 with the first strike, but we only have 4 toughness. And that's not enough toughness to deal with those other anglers. If we didn't have first strike, then the thing I'd be saying here is to be aware of like a shrivel happening, but like if this is just a 6/6 without first strike, then you do have to be pretty careful of that as well. What do I do here? I got the mask. Do I just cast it? Or do I wait? Is there any point in doing either? I suspect my opponent has counter magic. I suspect they have foil. Exactly. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait. Ancestral Mask makes my guy huge, though. Makes it real big. How many counter magic pieces have they gone through? Because they probably have like 2 or 3 in all, 2 or 3 foil. And they've used 0. But I assume after all that guessing and brainstorming, I know they didn't have them earlier, or at least they didn't have a lot earlier, but they did all that guessing and brainstorming and pondering, especially like ponder, choose not to shuffle. I assume they find something at some point. They cast Exhume, get back the Riverwinder. This time we have a creature to get back. Ooh, exciting. So if we resolve this mask, it's going to give plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2. So plus 14. That's a 20 power first striker. So I don't want that to get countered. I want to protect it as much as I can. Opponent could have a null plus foil. Yeah, I think this is the turn for it. Ancestral Mask on the Glade Cover Scout. Show me what you got. They've got a null. I've got Dispel. Do you have foil? I think they do have foil. I'm not sure about the island. Okay, they did have foil and a dead card and the island. Okay, that was a little rough. But at least we got fair trades. Like the reason it's rough is because I'm saying it's rough because I wish they didn't have it, first of all, but also because if I knew they were just going to counter my things, then I would definitely want to present something of lower value first. Alright, opponent's making a big scary attack. We're going to block like this. This is 16 damage coming in, and chump a River Winder. Take 16. Trigger, gain 6 life. And I guess we took 10. I don't think we're going to die at this rate. Not very quickly. If they have to just throw away creatures to deal damage. So they can attack with everything here. Maybe I should have played the Bogle, so I can chump. I think I, again, just like let in 16 and gain 6. Take 10, go to 14. Really don't want to die to Edict. Although I don't think they have the Edict. I think they would have played a little differently if that were their out. No attack there. They also aren't holding up counter magic, and ooh, that's a good one. Cast a third armor, and actually I can think about whether to cast it here or cast it there. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is gonna go up to 9 power, first strike, trample, hexproof. So 15 in total. I can attack, but I'm also net losing life. Well, let's do it. I think this is resolving, unless my opponent has Gush into foil or something like that. Or, oh, right, they can crack Spellbomb into foil. So we got 15 here. Problem is they can attack me for 22. But we have lifelink, so actually I should probably attack. So if I attack for this, they just block with everything. I get to eat 3 of their creatures with first strike damage. They deal 7 to my guy, so my guy doesn't die. If I attack, I'm going up to 39, and they can attack me for 22. So they're netting like 7 damage a turn, so that's like a 4-turn clock. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, up to 39. Go ahead. This is kind of nerve-wracking, but we're ahead here. We're still ahead. Why is this Brainstorm still revealed? No, it should be revealed. They put it into their hand last turn and then tapped out. Cast Ponder, Shuffle. They're looking for an answer. I don't really know what answers they have in their deck. Put it in bottom top. I'm guessing the Gush was the card they put on top. They cast Gush. They got 2 islands in their hand, plus the Brainstorm. Probably now they cast the Brainstorm. One island in their hand. Oh boy. They've stopped casting spells. How many things do you attack with? That's going to be real interesting to see how they handle that one. They attack with nothing. I'm afraid that my opponent has some kind of stupid trick that I haven't thought of that kills my guy, like a combat trick. Just like, because here like +3 power would, no, not even +3 power. So I attack, I kill 3 of them with first strike, but then they have like 12 power left over to deal damage back to the Glade Cover Scout. But and the fact they didn't attack kind of suggests they have something, but I can't think of any specific thing that they could have that would make me lose, so I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to just attack. And plus the benefit of attacking is I gain 16 or 15 life. Opponent's down to 2. They're not dead on board yet. They can chump for a long time. It's hard to chump a 15 power trampler when you're at 2, but my opponent had 31 toughness on the board, so they still have a while. My opponent is also running out of cards in the library. I could just do nothing if they don't have a great card. I should be playing these lands actually in case my opponent actually has Auraflex in their deck. Oh no, they did it. My opponent did it. They played a creature, so now I attack with everything. I kill 3 of these guys. And then the next 3 have 15 power, and they can kill a Glade Cover Scout. So let's do some digging, because we're going to have to stop attacking right now. On the other hand, this guy doesn't have to stop attacking. Opponent is at 2. Okay, new plan. Poke in for the last 2 points of damage with Silhana Ledgewalker. I think this is going to win the game. Opponent could have a Shrivel, I guess. And they concede. Ooh, that was an exciting one. Thanks for watching. I'm 3-0. I'll see you in round 4.